These guys had such humble beginnings, and they came from, parents who loved to sing. Whenever they'd come from protests, they'd get back home and sing. Their mothers could sing, their fathers could sing. I'm talking about UB40. This group had four brothers in it, but it doesn't sound so simple, right? There were other people in there, including Jimmy Brown, Earl Falconer, Norman Hassan, Brian Travera, and of course the brothers Duncan Campbell, Robin Campbell, Ali Campbell, who is actually the most recognized artist in this group. There was also Astro and Mickey Virtue. Jimmy Lynn was also in this group, a good friend of the Campbell brothers. And there was also Yomi Babayemi. They grew up in Birmingham. 1978 was when they made their debut. Right after high school, they couldn't find anything to do. They were flat broke. So as friends, it was a mixed community. The lineup was originally diverse with musicians of English, Welsh, Irish, Jamaican, Scottish, and Yemeni parentage. They got together and they said the music on the streets was not folk music, like the folk music the Campbell dad would play. His name was Ian Campbell. Well, they got together and started to play reggae. And they thought everybody loved reggae or pop and dub. They didn't listen to David Bowie. They were listening to other things, including Bob Marley. Well, this English reggae and pop band started out in 1978 before they gained mainstream success. They had more than 50 singles in the UK singles chart, and the list is endless. They had songs including Can't Help Falling in Love, Red, Red Wine. Oh, that's a good one too. And I Got You, Babe, among others. Let me know which one is your favorite. UB40, guys couldn't find a job. They got together and they decided to name this group right after that unemployment benefit form, the one that you get when you need support. They didn't buy their first guitar or get their first rehearsal space until they got a little bit of compensation after Ali Campbell had an injury on his eye. I mean, they were broke. Humble beginnings, I tell you. I've got the full story right here on the spotlight. I've never played this much UB40, but their story is quite interesting. You know, when you think we are all on the same page, it's all about making records and doing great music. When the brothers started off and they had their friends in that band as well, it was always seen as if Ali Campbell was the front runner. Also because most of the other members were his friends from school. So 3 years after high school, they couldn't find a job. They start out and guess what? By 1983, they were releasing hits and performing. One of the lead singers, actually the lead singer of the group Pretenders, decided to have them on tour to perform with her, to open for her. Those days when you'd be gigging in a club and people are not looking at you, they said their music was too slow. What is that sound? We don't like it. And people would focus on playing darts and chess and drinking and, they'd ignore them. But you couldn't ignore Ali Campbell's sound. And his older brother was in prison at the time. They say when the album Labor of Love came out, he saw them on TV. He couldn't believe his eyes. They commercialized reggae and dub and pop. They said they didn't like the conventional sounds of music that were on radio. They decided to do it differently. And today, they are one of the greatest groups of all time. However, they're two UB40s. They split. I'll tell you what happened a little bit later. And of course, the Record Rumble is coming up. But first, off that album, Labor of Love. These guys from Birmingham, humble beginnings, 1978, they got together. The unemployment benefits that they got. It's crazy that right now their situation has not really changed, even if they have over 50 top 10 singles to their name. I'm going to be playing one of their biggest hits. It's called Can't Help Falling in Love. Right after this time, they were playing different shows around the world, but there was no money. And they didn't understand where the black hole was. They were gigging. They were popular. Everybody knew their name. They didn't struggle with interviews and airplay. But there was no money. It became harder and harder to sustain themselves as superstars. They continued to perform a string of hits from different albums, including Signing Off. The other one is Labor of Love. There were different cover series that they did, different projects. So if you ever see UB40 on tour, you need to be clear on which UB40 we are talking about. 2008, Ali Campbell announced that he was leaving UB40. The stories were all over. Everyone around the world was like, what? After 30 plus years performing together? And your brothers are in there as well? Remember, I told you that their father, Ian, was a folk singer. And the children actually just come from a bloodline of singers and performers. They went on to do reggae. They defied all odds, coming out of unemployment as young lads. And then later on, touring the world and having monster hits. We played Red Red Wine. We had another one here, So Many Rivers to Cross, among others. You guys know your stuff. Well, they announced that they are no longer performing together. And what came to the public limelight was a series of PR hate. I don't even know how to call it, because they started to hate on each other as brothers. It was so heartbreaking to see. And their issue was money. He performed in Uganda with them. They performed all the hits that you know and love, from Reasons to Come Back Darling, Stick By Me. And then he said he was going solo, Ali Campbell. He said he was leaving the group, and he said it was in order for him to concentrate on a solo project. But later he said it was due to management and business disputes. For many years he kept asking, what is this black hole where our money is going? We're performing, we're selling out concerts. In fact, they had a really big one in South Africa. But where's the money? Many of them lost their homes. They could not afford the lifestyle. Whatever you saw, it was all difficult. They were trying to keep up appearances. So another statement came out from the other members of the group saying, Ali Campbell made a very simple decision. He chose to pursue and put his solo career over and above continuing to work with UB40 after February of 2008. It's as simple as that. But then, after Ali Campbell left, Mickey, Virtue, and Astro decided to join him. And now, they said it's the same issues that Ali Campbell was talking about that was the reason for their departure. So I remember, when was it? I think it was last year. We saw some of our leaders going for this concert, and it was not the original lineup. It was Astro, Mickey Virtue, and Ali Campbell. To be honest, that is the real UB40, because according to him, he was the composer, the signature voice of the group. He was the Beyonce of the group. And it was reported in early 2008 that Maxi Priest was going to join UB40 as the lead singer. Lo and behold, one of their brothers was announced as the new lead singer in 2009. His name was Duncan Campbell. This guy didn't even want to be part of the group. But when he was asked to do it, he said yes, as long as I get Ali Campbell's blessing. So, two separate UB40s from 2008 were touring and performing around the world. They continue to have disputes, get this, because no one can patent the name UB40. It is a British institution, okay? Ali Campbell went on to say that when they were having that split with the other half of UB40, his late father picked a side. He picked the other two brothers, Robin and Duncan. So now he continues to tour, and it's official on the timeline. Ali Campbell, Astro, and Mickey Virtue are what you consider UB40. Hands down, this has been one of my best on the Spice Drive. You know, these guys came from nothing, but something along the way distracted them from their ultimate goal. You know, their mission, one of their missions was to have reggae and dub and pop music be a popular sound. They achieved that, but they lost a couple of things. They're currently still performing, but in two separate groups. And it's pretty obvious. I can see Claire on the timeline here saying, where Ali Campbell is, that's the voice that we know. That is UB40.
The Spice Drive with Monique. Spicing up your drive.